Coming up, more reaction actually this morning to Bill Melugent's explosive undercover investigation about illegal drugs and the homeless here in Southern California.
This is a drug crisis that needs a National Guard response, and we're getting behaviors both outside and inside the mission that we've never seen before.
So here's a question. Is there a better way to solve the homeless drug crisis? An addiction expert weighs in. 8:45, Bill Melugent's undercover investigation into the meth crisis and the Mexican drug cartel is fueling a lot of conversation.
Oh, everybody's talking about this. In his story, Hunt for El Mencho, the DEA's special agent in charge, told Bill that Prop 47, the law that changed drug use from a felony to a misdemeanor, isn't helping the situation.
Fox 11 first brought you these shocking images Sunday night.
How much crystal do we need?
In an explosive investigation, we went undercover to shine a light on just how bad the meth addiction crisis has gotten in LA's homeless community.
Everybody got drugs, pretty much.
Addicts shooting up and smoking in public. This video directly across the street from LAPD Central Division. The drugs mostly supplied by Mexico's CJNG cartel. No fear, no consequences, no treatment. And the head of DEA Los Angeles told us California's Prop 47 is partly to blame.
There's no reason to be afraid for shooting up in public. There's no motivation to go to treatment. They used to be given a choice. Do you want to go to jail? Do you want to get a felony conviction, or do you go to treatment? There's no hammer now. Now they get a ticket. They get a ticket, they tear it up, they walk away, they're using drugs the same day, again. So it has not worked.
Dr. Howard Samuels is here. He's an addiction expert and recovering addict, and you really have a lot to say about this. You know what Bill is talking about. You saw the story. What is your reaction? And welcome, by the way.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, my reaction is, thank God it's a misdemeanor. All right. We've been charging addicts with felonies for 50, 60 years. Our prisons are overflowing with addicts, not criminals. Okay? And once you go to prison for a drug, you actually learn how to be a better criminal. Okay? Because there is no rehabilitation whatsoever. And that is the huge piece that's missing here.
So it sounds like you think Prop 47 was a good idea.
A good idea, but there's a huge piece that's missing. There's no mandatory treatment. None. You know, and that's the problem that law enforcement is talking about right now. Mental health and law enforcement, we have to work together. Now, my feeling is that, you know, I'm a recovering heroin addict. Now, thank God my family had the means to put me into treatment for 18 months. Now, because I went to treatment for 18 months, I was totally rehabilitated, and today I'm sober, clean, 35 years, okay? And I've been able to change my life and help others. Now, what has to happen is that if you get arrested, in my opinion, 3 times for drugs, especially heroin, crystal meth, and cocaine, you have to mandatory go to a lockdown treatment facility for 18 months to 24 years, because if you see these homeless people, there needs to be a whole restructure of their life. You know, it isn't just a drug problem, it is a life problem. And that takes 18 months to 2 years.
And in some cases, you factor in mental illness as well, and that's a whole other conversation.
Absolutely. That's why it's a mental health issue. You know, the police captain was wrong in being able to say it has to be a felony. Been there, done that. We have to have a whole new approach. Now, is it going to cost money? Absolutely.
How much? What are we talking about?
We're talking about $1 billion.
Wow.
To have mandatory treatment centers, okay? Lockdown treatment centers. And then you have to change the law, because these people really are committing suicide in a slow way. Now, if you are actually committing suicide, the police put you on a lockdown facility. Well, it's a different type of suicidal ideation. It is, these people are crazy, just like I was crazy when I was shooting heroin. It's the same thing. There needs to be an intervention intervention done. Legal intervention to get them help in mandatory treatment centers.
And in your case, you were lucky enough to have family who stepped in and they were able to get you the help you needed. Now,
Absolutely.
do you think law enforcement should stop these cartels? What can they do to stop these cartels? Or does it seem like it's a losing battle? It almost feels like there's no winning here.
Well, I think you're right. And the problem with the cartels is that if you look at the Mexican government, it is so corrupt and they're so overwhelmed by all these, cartels that are actually in a very poor country, and there's no other way for these people to make money. So there has to be much more law enforcement in Mexico because it's breaking bad. Right. I mean, if you take a look at that TV series, we're living in reality. Right. There are massive labs in Mexico that are producing tons of crystal meth, and it's all synthetic. It's all like, ingredients that you can find underneath your sink. Cleaning ingredients.
Right. And the reason, finish your sentence.
No, cleaning ingredients that destroy the body physically and mentally.
But there's a market for it, and addiction is powerful.
Yes.
It's real.
Yes.
And people that say, oh, you did this to yourself, people are not choosing this, and it's multi-pronged, and so it's good to see. It's money, it's going to be the willpower, it's going to be helping people, meeting them where they're at.
Yes.
Dr. Samuels, we'll give you the last word.
Well, I really hope that we change this attitude we have. It has to be a mental health thing, but we have to work hand in hand with law enforcement to put them in mandatory drug programs for 2 years to really save their life.
Yeah, and we say this isn't my problem, but it becomes our problem because we're a society and we live in this giant community.
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Samuels, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.